You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hello, we are Enterprise playing the podcast. I'm not even going to stop. I'm so happy to talk about this episode. We are Enterprise playing the podcast where we explain Star Trek Enterprise to each other and to you. I'm Bill, and these are my co-hosts, Maria.
Hello.
And Jamie.
Hi.
And we are rejoined by our fantastic guest star, Nicole.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Guest star.
Guest star.
She is a star.
Shining star.
Doing okay.
You are registered in the Star Directory, which I believe my grandmother bought for me when I was 5 years old.
My grandmother got that for me too.
Isn't that fantastic?
Aww,
Yep.
Cute.
And I knew it was a scam too. Because I was like a teenager by then. And I was just like, okay, now be really gracious and don't say anything.
Don't even care. Today, our mission is a second contact. Last week, I told all of my hosts what happened in the Star Trek Enterprise episode, Singularity, which I absolutely loved. Now, they have watched the episode, and we are back with their thoughts. So make sure you listen to last week's episode before we get to this one. Just a quick summary of Singularity. Everyone on Star Trek Enterprise goes insane, but what really happens is they revert to their early season 1 personas. I absolutely love this episode. I thought it was insane fun. Who wants to jump in? Who wants to come in with their first thoughts on this episode? Nicole is waving her arms frantically.
Well, this is the first time I've done this, so I am so excited and brimming. First of all, you did a fantastic job describing it. Because I remember listening to your description going, that makes no sense. He must have missed something. And you did not miss a damn thing. It was actually that ridiculous. The other thing I wanted to say is I had my spouse watch it with me, Tim, who some of you know, who I was just harassing to get the mic to work. He has never seen a full episode of Enterprise before. And so this was his first full episode of Enterprise. I'm like,
what an amazing experience!
This is a terrible way to meet all the characters, first of all.
Strongly disagree.
Okay, I do want to point out, Next Generation, the second episode, the first episode after the pilot, was the one where they're all drunk.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
The second episode, that's how you meet the characters. And it's really weird because when I was watching it for the first time recently, I was like, I don't know if the characters are acting out a character because I don't know these characters.
I would agree that this is a better way to meet these characters than the actual second episode of Star Trek Enterprise.
That's a good point. Yeah.
His response was, that was brutal. As someone with a theater degree, he was like, well, it's probably that because they were playing not themselves or not their characters, so it felt awkward. He also said he's the first time he saw the theme song.
How did that go for him?
The first thing he says is, so we're watching Party of Five in space? My spouse is much funnier than I am. You really should have him on. Just for the jokes.
Yeah, when can we have him on? We'll get him in the second half of the season.
Do it.
So, getting to your thoughts on this episode, Nicole.
Oh.
No. Do you have thoughts on this episode?
I have thoughts about the actual episode. Yes. My big hang up was the geometry made no fucking sense when you were describing it. Like, it took them 2 days to get into this trinary system, but they're going to get out, and it turned out to be in 17 minutes by going the direction that there's no. So I paused it. I watched it
on the
first,
little
and I saw it go quickly. So I paused it on the screen, and can I screen share? I mean, I know that's not good for
Yes.
podcast
Oh yeah, no, that's
listeners,
fine.
but I'm
You
sure
can absolutely show this to
your
us.
reactions will make it worth it. So, you know those weather maps of like the whatever polar things are going on where it looks like
Mhm.
boobies?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm so
there we
glad
go.
because
There-
I also
Well-
was like, we were watching it. I was like, were those boobs?
Yeah, well, there we go. That was my first thought.
This is the trinary system. There's the 2 stars. There's the black hole. So first of all, boobies.
I mean, it also, if you count all 3 of them, it kind of also could be penisy, like a small penis,
I
but a
see it, yeah.
See?
There's a lot of space penises, so I'm
Yeah, that's
I,
looking for
space
some
boobs
more
are very
feminine-
exciting.
Here's
And for the
Space boobs are
listeners, we will. For the listeners, we will put this in the show notes. So if you would like to see the space boobs, they are safe for work.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
It is it is a
guess.
contour plot that just so happens to look like space boobs.
okay.
So yeah, they've got the original course plotted around the boobs. But then later on they show the new course going past the black hole. And so here's the thing that made me go, "Buh?" Because the radiation field looks like it has a shock front.
Wait, what is a shock front?
It looks like the whole system is traveling through material very quickly, and so that is causing the material to like kind of bunch up in the
Like
front.
compress?
Yeah, compress. You could have a shock, particularly if things starting to move faster than the speed of sound in that medium. That's kind of what it looks like, which does not make sense for a radiation powder, but they didn't say what kind of radiation it is, so sure, fine, whatever. But it actually did make the geometry make sense, and that blew me away.
Oh,
It's aggression radiation.
it's anger.
It's
It's all
It's
anger.
ornery radiation. It makes you ornery.
Or hyper focused.
The ornery radiation, the ADHD radiation has mass. The part they, it's a massive particle is what I'm saying.
Amazing.
Okay.
So I was thrilled because yeah, it was like, oh my god, I can't believe the geometry. That is exactly what you described, and it made no sense, and that's exactly what they did. And I've been on a binge of watching the TOS and TNG movies because I hadn't watched them in a
Oh.
long time.
I've only seen the
Um,
TOS one. I haven't seen the TNG ones. Only
They're
the one, the
okay.
crossover one is the only one I saw.
So I'm not spoiling anything. Well, as soon as Trip Tucker
I don't know
opened
if
his
I'm gonna
mouth,
watch these movies.
as soon as Trip Tucker opened his mouth, I imagined McCoy. First of all, I was like, "Huh?"
Yeah.
Okay. And the shower scene where she's trying to get Archer to wake up with the coffee, and she's
yeah.
like got her hand on the glass.
Okay, thank you.
Wrath of Khan
Isn't that a
Wrath of
reference
Khan.
to Wrath of Khan? It is absolutely a reference.
has to be. It
It
has to be.
has to
It
be.
was too
There's-
perfect.
Yeah, it was too clear. I have the same exact note. Like, this is definitely a reference to Wrath of Khan, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
The other little thing I liked was the Vulcan neck pinch that she did on
my God.
Dr. Phlox.
I loved it.
And I looked it up to see if it was the first time a Vulcan neck pinch was done around here.
No.
It was not. She had done one in a previous episode.
Yeah,
it looked
we
like.
saw her. She did it on Ferengis.
Yes,
Right.
right.
I
Which
think she
at
did,
the-
no, she did it on Travis in the cocaine cave.
Oh yeah, also in Cocaine Cave, but she also did it on the Ferengis. Because I remember
Yeah,
at
the
the time I made a comment. I was like, "It's funny how Vulcan nerve pinches work on all species somehow."
All species.
And I like that in this, she made a comment at the end about how she didn't know if it was going to work on denobulans. I thought that was a
Yes.
really nice touch.
And Archer was clueless, and so I was like, "Oh, humans don't even know what that is yet."
Right.
And I thought
no,
that
they've
was
definitely done it. But what I loved about the nerve pinch scene is when Phlox went down, she did not catch him or anything. She nerve pinched and he
He's just
fell
like-
to the ground. He was holding a scalpel. And he just dropped, and she didn't like reach out to like catch him and let him down slowly. She did it, and then she watched him fall to the ground, probably hit his head. Like she could have fallen on top of that scalpel. It was so funny.
I didn't even realize that. That's amazing.
I have some very big concerns about feet. And in 3 of the past 4 episodes, we have seen disgusting bare feet. I went and double checked this to make sure I was not insane.
The only one I can remember is Phlox. I'm never gonna be able to remove that from my brain.
So we had Phlox for sure, and then we had Malcolm's foot in the communicator where he was having some issue with his foot. It was completely meaningless, but he had some weird issue with his foot.
Do not remember that.
And then in this episode, there's a scene in Archer's quarters where he is going crazy dealing with his, like, writing his thing, and his feet, he has no shoes on, and his foot, and you can see his foot, but you can see the bottom of his foot and it's dirty. And I'm like, why? Okay, I am going to send y'all photographs of this because I literally went and like looked at all all of these and was very angry about all of it.
Maria,
my God.
this episode was directed by Quentin Tarantino.
That's what I was like. Did Quentin Tarantino have something to do with this? Because I was very upset. Hold on. I'm sending them to you. You're getting them.
Don't
whether
send
you like them.
Don't send a photo of Flox's toe.
Sending them all. Sending them all. I have to deal with it. Y'all have to deal with it. But there are
Maria,
feet We're putting these in the show notes.
Oh no, I
just
clicked on the Phlox one.
Don't understand why.
Malcolm's feet look fine. They're just feet.
Yeah. Okay, but still, why? And also, like, okay, Malcolm's is the least concerning, but literally,
Archer's foot is dirty.
Okay.
Is filthy. It's filthy, and there's no reason to see that. Why?
Like, they're on a set. They could have cleaned his foot off.
Because he's gone crazy.
This episode
Obviously.
broke
Dirty
my
bare feet
brain.
means you're crazy.
This episode broke the crew's brain, and it has broken all of our brain.
It has clearly broken my brain because I went on a foot fetish quest.
Quick check-in. I loved this episode. How did you all feel about this episode?
I think
It was
I
so
enjoyed you
fucking
telling
crazy.
us about it, but I think once I kind of knew what it was, I think it lost its shine. Like I just felt like the acting wasn't great in it because everybody had to act so exaggerated that like the acting was bad. Even Scott Bakula was doing bad acting by the end.
Yeah.
And I think the problem is like, so Archer as a character is already quite aggressive and already gets like obsessed with things and then gets like annoyed with them. So, and then in order for Scott Bakula to do that, but then make it obvious there's something wrong, he has to like overdo it.
Yeah, he has to be
Like,
completely.
I don't think there was a way, because he's a good actor. I know he's a good actor, but his acting in it was not good. And
Okay.
I think it was because of that. I just, and all the characters were kind of like that.
Like, I do wonder how much of that is because we knew what was going on, having
Yeah.
heard about it versus watching it blind. But I agree. I mean, it was honestly like everybody annoyed me in this, which was sort of the point, right? But I think like I felt like it was a good episode for T'Pol to like kind of see her reaction to the situation and her being in a situation where like she was in a lot of danger and she you know she
Jolie
was
Blaylock was
alone
so
in
good.
this.
Like speaking about acting, like her acting was impeccable.
Do you agree with me that they let T'Pol show a little emotion, like when?
Oh,
she was,
100%.
Yes.
like,
Absolutely.
they gave her some flavor with that.
Yeah.
And
You could see it
sort
on
of
her face.
You're
Yeah, and
You could
her,
tell
like,
she knew
danger.
she was in danger,
Yeah.
but she was playing it so carefully. It was so good.
It's a little
Yeah,
bit.
she was great.
So here's my big question, Jamie. Did you finally get your wish? Was this Star Trek The Bear? When Hoshi was in the kitchen screaming and trying to get the recipe.
There was only like one other person there. I was so okay. The Hoshi storyline made no sense. Like even from the beginning, before it got weird, she was gonna cook for 83 people in that pot that she had
Yeah.
for 83 people. Like it didn't make sense. There was nobody else in the kitchen. There's no way one person is cooking food for 83 people by themselves.
well-
Like it, the whole thing
Well,
made no
chef's
sense.
apparently doing it.
Tell that to Neelix.
But I think that, like, the guy was like, well, I'll replicate X, Y, not replicate, but I'll, whatever, go
right.
through the
Protein
thing.
synthesize.
And she was like, no, I'm doing everything from scratch. So
Like-
it does seem like she was not doing the norm. because normally you would replicate a whole bunch of stuff to make that
But it was successful.
volume.
Yeah, but usually you'd also have other people making it.
Yeah, I know.
But in terms of a Star Trek cooking show, Jamie,
Also, they're
Like-
gonna let her use all those raw materials.
right?
God,
And-
I want to see a Star Trek cooking
And
show.
there was
Why
nobody
does
else
that
in the
not
kitchen.
exist?
Like, there needed to be other
this-
people yelling yes chef at each other.
This is my
Agreed.
question, Jamie. What did you imagine versus what did this show give you?
Like, so
Because
many, there should have been so many people.
More people.
Okay.
Like, the kitchen, it was a big kitchen. And then it was
Well-
just Hoshi and the one dude.
So have you seen Voyager, Jamie?
No, I've not. I don't, I really, and I know almost nothing about it.
Right.
It wasn't weird to me because it was only always Neelix
Yeah.
in the kitchen.
That felt
For
very
the-
much like Neelix, for sure. I agree.
Yeah.
For those of you who have tried to cook family recipes, how hard did you feel I have to get my family recipe completely right? Because I come from German stock and it is plain food. Like, we don't worry about seasoning. Like, you just boil it for 42 hours.
It's less for me. Like, there are definitely recipes that I learned from my mom, but I guess, methodology that I learned to cook was everybody has their own, adds their own little thing to it. So my tandoori chicken is not my mom's tandoori chicken, although it's based on my mom's tandoori chicken, right? It's a little bit different. So I didn't actually connect with that because I'm like, oh no, you're doing your own thing. It's your thing. You're making it.
Interesting.
But I understand it being a thing that people could get obsessive about.
I have had Maria's, I don't know if it was tandoori chicken. but
Probably had
I've
Maria's-
definitely had some of your Indian
And it was
cooking.
fucking amazing.
Agreed.
So I think the listeners just need to know.
I
Fucking amazing.
I never told my mother this, but I actually think my tandoori chicken might have been better than hers. But I would never ever tell her that.
snap.
She's dead, so it's okay.
So's
She'll
my
never
grandmother.
hear that.
So's my grandmother. So we're just not gonna.
I'm not laughing at your mom
She'll
being
never
dead.
know.
I'm just to be clear here, I'm laughing at your mom not ever hearing this because of it.
She'll never know.
Welcome to our social media post.
None of my-
Maria's mother looking down from heaven.
None of my siblings are ever gonna listen to this, so it's fine.
Listening down to this podcast. Okay, let's get into Trip. Trip working on the chair.
Okay, I was annoyed in the beginning because it felt like a weird thing for him to nerd out. Like, from the first scene, before they were even affected by the ornery radiation, he was already, like, all excited about the chair, and it felt weirdly out of character. Like, it seemed like something he would be annoyed about, where he'd be like, you just want me to work on this chair? I want to be working on this other stuff. It would have made more sense to me if he was like trying to optimize the engines and he got them to like 98% efficiency and he wanted to get it to 98.1% or something.
He said that he wanted to work on something else, and Archer's like, work on the fucking chair.
It didn't bother me because I felt like it was the kind of thing that would be like, bro, I got you, bro. I got you. I'm going to fix this for you, bro. Because that's the relationship that he has with Archer. Like, oh, you have a problem. I'm going to fix it for you. And that did kind of jive for me.
Okay,
that
yeah,
did
that
make
makes sense
to me. Yeah,
I mean, I
it
saw,
wasn't.
like, a
It
little-
wasn't something he necessarily wanted to do or would have chosen to do, but because Archer asked him, and he was like, "Oh, there's something wrong, and I can fix it. I'm gonna make it perfect because you're my bro." You know?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I also see an engineer being given an interesting problem and
Yeah.
being really excited about it. So that
It was
that makes
also
sense.
a weird problem, right? Like he was like, "When I lean back, I feel like I'm gonna fall over." It was a weird problem.
This like fancy chair that's not adjustable? What happens now when T'Pol has to sit in it?
I feel like this was a weird meta issue because we never see Archer sitting in the chair, and the only time we see T'Pol sitting in the chair, she's doing her amazing perch. I
Right.
feel like this was like a real world problem. It's like, I cannot sit comfortably in this chair.
Yeah, do we not see Archer sit in the chair? I think
does,
about it.
but
He must, but not often.
he
I feel like
does,
he's
but
standing a lot.
That I actually feel like that's a thing they're doing. I don't know if it's true or not, but I do feel like like even in this, like at the end, he sits and he's like, okay, this is okay, but he almost immediately gets out of that chair. And it, to me, that is more of a like, Archer doesn't quite feel like he belongs. He doesn't quite feel like he
that's
is
a
the
nice
captain
character
and
point,
doesn't
actually.
belong in the captain chair. And I kind of do think they're trying to do that.
Maybe.
I'm not sure that's true, but that's what it feels like. But also, Trip ripping that chair out of the deck was the funniest scene. Like, he was just like, I'm taking this. So good.
Okay. Sidebar to Trip. Trip walking into Paul's room with his toolbox. Porno scene. Am I wrong?
Like, they could have done something with that, and they never did. It's because they're trying to kind of push the Trip to Paul thing a little bit, but they never really. It didn't happen in this one.
Not in this universe.
Here we are. We are finally at this tier. Travis and Phlox.
Wait, we haven't done Malcolm.
I'm saving Malcolm.
Malcolm is the read alert. You gotta.
All right,
you gotta
Travis
save
and
him.
Phlox. I loved this so much. Phlox's progression made the most sense to me of any of the characters because every piece of it, all the way to the end, felt really in character. In that, obviously he would never actually do something like that, but you know that he's thinking it. Like, it's one of those things where you know that, like, without the ornery radiation, Travis comes in with a headache. You know Phlox can't figure it out. And in his head, he'd be thinking, guy, if I could just do a brain biopsy, I could definitely solve this. And you know he would think it, and he may even say it as a joke. And he would obviously not actually do it, but you know that there's a part of him thinking it. And so it makes total sense to me that whatever this was doing to him, just like when his judgment is affected, he's now doing the thing that he always secretly wanted to do.
That checks out.
I was surprised because I'm thinking of the timeline of this. Like, it seems like Travis is there at least overnight, if not longer. So everyone's getting hit with ornery radiation, but he's still putting up with Phlox's tests like all night.
Yeah,
He does start to go a little wild later. You do see later because he's like, I'm gonna get court-martialed. But before that, like, he's been suppressing whatever's happening and putting up with Phlox's tests for a long period of time.
Because Travis is only there to further Phlox's storyline. The writers of the show see Travis as a plot device, not a character in and of himself. So it didn't really matter what he was acting like.
Yeah,
his
really
purpose
sucks.
was to be there for Phlox to have someone to play off of. And that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally. That's totally what I got.
As always with Travis.
Poor guy.
I'm with you. I agree. I think it was kind of a shame because I would have liked to have seen Travis like get really obsessive over over flying the ship or something, like making sure he was exactly on path or something. I would have really enjoyed that. But of course, we don't get that because Travis doesn't get that. But I did love the horror version of Phlox.
Yeah.
Like if Phlox,
full mad scientist Phlox.
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Our sweet psycho boy, our sociopath was back from. This was my experience. Was like, oh, these are the characters from early season 1 are finally back.
This is why What the Phlox was created.
Yeah, and then he got all weird and empathetic and nice and sweet, and we were like, where is creepy Phlox?
Yeah, he lulled us into a false sense of security. And they're like, no, remember, he's still there underneath it all.
All right, let's move on to thoughts on Malcolm in this episode, Nicole.
Read alert is one of the few things I remember.
Yep.
When I watched all of Enterprise once.
You watched all of it?
I've seen the whole series. Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes. I've seen the whole series. I'm a completist. I'm not happy unless I've watched everything in the thing, in the canon.
Yeah, guys, I just realized we were supposed to have you introduce yourself again at the beginning of this episode, and we just fully skipped it.
Fucking rando. It's fine.
Fine. It's fine. People, if people don't know who you are, it's their problem, not ours.
There you go. I'm an astronomer. I dig space boobies. Yeah. And I
Don't
like
we
Star
all?
Trek. Yeah.
Everybody
yeah,
likes a little space booby.
Read Alert is one of the few things I remember from this whole series, and so I was very excited to.
It's so funny too because it's one like offhand line, and yet it sticks. Like that was it was the second thing I learned about Enterprise when Steven was telling me about Enterprise. Or no, it was the third. Steven was like, "Oh, so here's how it ends. Let me tell you about sexy decontamination and also read alerts."
Yep.
And it was sold
It's one of
to
the few
us
things I
as
remember about it.
Malcolm Reed invents Read Alert, and that's not what fucking
That's not what happens.
That might have been my fault.
No. He does, because he invents, because it's obviously the red alert is what he invents in this, right? And it is funny that it comes from read alert, and then he probably eventually lands on, but he never, that was the thing in this episode, is he never lands on red alert. I assume
Yeah, they
we're
never
getting
get
that
to red alert.
in a next episode or something.
Trip says Read Alert.
Yes,
Yeah.
that I didn't remember. I remember Malcolm saying it to himself, but I didn't remember it came from Trip.
Malcolm says
Yeah, it
it
was
sounds
Trip's
too
idea.
narcissistic.
Which is weird for Malcolm.
But that's why he's going to come up with red alert, because it's basically the same thing.
I love it.
But we all know it's secretly a read alert.
Anyway,
I was so excited about the read alert. I was so excited.
I was watching, because I was watching this with Eric, my spouse, and I know that he also knows about read alerts. And he also has not seen Enterprise. He's watching it along with me, but he was in all those conversations when Steven told us about read alerts. And I was just waiting. I was actually not watching the TV. I was watching him to be like, when is he going to realize? When is he going to realize? And it was the second Malcolm was like, we should have some sort of like system, like a security alert. And Eric goes, oh, read alert, like immediately.
So cute.
Well, Steven has seen all of Enterprise, and he knew that this was the episode. He couldn't remember exactly what the episode was, but he knew this was the episode because he heard me recording with you guys screaming, "Oh my God, is this it?"
But on Malcolm, I liked him in this episode. This is the second time I've had to say that
Right.
recently. I'm starting to realize I think that I do not like Armory Officer Malcolm. But you know who I like? Tactical Officer Malcolm. I think that's the thing. Now that Malcolm is for some reason no longer the armory officer, and now they made him tactical officer, and they changed his whole personality. I actually like him now, I think, and it's messing with my brain because he was definitely my most hated character. But I thought he was really fun in this. Like he was funny. His storyline was great. The read alert was funny, and the one thing about him though is from the beginning, almost all the way to the end, he acted totally in character, and I'm not even sure that the ornery radiation was affecting him because he was acting like Malcolm. Like, Malcolm would be like, get really obsessed with this thing. He's always trying to make Starfleet more military. So it's totally in character for him to be like, well, the military has this alert system. Can we have it too? And then Archer being like, no, but maybe you could do something similar. And him like trying to come up with something and having these weird alarms that are annoying everyone. 100% in character for Malcolm. I'm surprised that he did not save this whole ship because it didn't really seem like he was affected at all by the ornery radiation.
Even walking around armed? Really?
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he did walk around.
I'm not in it like you guys are.
He didn't shoot anybody.
With T'Pol, when he was being really weird with her and had his gun, and he was like being really like paranoid about whether it
Intense
was
and
really
paranoid,
her.
yeah.
That was definitely So I guess it did affect him.
I loved that at the end, Malcolm was right, and Archer gave him a Benny. It was like, you were right.
I
You should
love
have
that,
this.
too.
Because it reminded me of the TNG episode where the Romulans were supporting the Klingon Civil War, and Data disobeyed orders, and he's like, he came into Picard and said, like, I shouldn't have done that. I disobeyed orders. I should be disciplined for this. And Picard gave him this, like, it's like, by the way, good job. I love the fact that
Right.
in
right.
the middle of
That-
all this is like, this is a good idea. You did a good job.
Did Archer actually tell him that? I think Archer just said,
did.
like,
He did. He absolutely did. He was like,
Nice.
because you put that thing in place, the shields were up and it saved
he
us.
said because you put it in place, but then he didn't say like good job, or like, I
didn't
guess
say good
Malcolm
job, he
doesn't need a
said-
pat on the head.
You should implement these protocols.
Everybody else was like going off the deep end, and Malcolm was like doing something useful.
It was useful, absolutely. It's like something
And
good came out of it.
Now we're
I mean,
here.
an obvious useful thing. Like they should have an alert system. They're being attacked
If you
all
can
the time.
imagine.
This feels very obvious, but still.
Malcolm is completely paranoid, and he's also right. How did we feel about Archer in this episode?
More daddy problems. More daddy
Yeah,
issues.
so
Working on the introduction to a book, and first of all, nobody's going to read this book. Second of all, no one's going to read the introduction to this book.
Also, so they had to have this scene of him yelling at Porthos because up until that moment, he was acting 100% in character.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Archer
That's
is
true.
really weird and aggressive and does really just obsess about stupid things. So I felt like they had to have him yell at Porthos because that was the one thing. In fact, that was the moment. As soon as he yelled at Porthos, Eric goes, "Oh, something weird is affecting them."
Right.
And I think even when you told us, Bill, about the episode, I think that was the second we figured it out.
my only real note about Archer was in the shower. Well, the shower scene that Nicole already brought up, like that seemed like a Kirk and Spock reference. But also, there was that giant comb in his. Does Archer comb his hair in the shower?
Missed that.
Hold on, I have.
I like that you came prepared with screenshots.
I did. I came prepared with screenshots. It was fucking like, why? Why is that giant comb there?
Okay. Sorry, I just thought
Oh my
And
god.
That is a really big comb.
And it's a really big comb.
So large.
There's no.
that's a big fucking comb.
What is he combing, guys? Is it his head?
No.
It can't. No.
Something else.
There's some long, thick, luscious hair somewhere.
Somewhere.
Okay, that's gotta be okay.
That was my note. That was
I
the
know.
only note I had.
What about Porthos?
That's-
Is Porthos? No, it's not a dog
That's
comb.
no,
No,
that's
and it wouldn't be in the shower. Well,
That-
maybe if he cleans
maybe when you're-
Porthos in the shower.
Maybe if you're bathing
That's-
Porthos.
That's where, that's where my dog
plausible.
shampoo is. I have an unpopular opinion.
please, please.
Archer wasn't that mean to Porthos. Porthos needs to get a little annoying. I think he backed down. Wait, and this is probably because I have really fucking annoying dogs.
Oh, my dog would definitely not back down as fast as Porthos did.
No
He would have been
way.
like, fuck you.
No way.
Feed me now.
Porthos is so spoiled.
But
Too good for this world. That dog is too good for this world.
because he does that and does the ears down, tail down, we
It was so
realize
cute.
Yeah, it was so cute.
If
But I'm just saying, Porthos could use a little time hanging out with Macy and Fenrir and just get some
Fenrir.
attitude.
Yeah. I
Get
agree.
real bitchy and whiny when it's an hour before dinner time.
Also, I made a note, like, Porthos doesn't have a collar, which I get because he's on a starship.
He's on,
but
I
he's the only
have
dog on the starship.
talked about this.
Yeah,
I feel like he needs a collar.
He does not need a collar.
No,
There's
I
no
don't.
point in putting
it
in the
collar.
house.
I talked
He just
about,
walking around naked on that starship, man. I don't know.
My dogs aren't always collared at the house. Those jingly things are annoying.
No,
My cats
Yeah,
don't
no,
have
that's true.
collars.
I brought this up on a previous episode that Porthos does not have. He doesn't need it. It's not like there's another fucking dog on this
Maybe
show.
like, oh, we found this lost dog. Who does he belong to?
But every time I see Porthos, I expect him to have a collar with a little delta hanging off of the bottom.
That would be so cute. I'm sure he's chipped. I don't know if there's a galactic database yet, but I'm sure he's chipped.
Oh,
That
God.
might be all
Yeah, I think we're
feel
done. I
like-
think we're done.
Wildcard, who has something they want to bring up that I haven't brought up in this episode.
Yeah, I did have one other thing. What did this have to do with singularities? Like, did it really need to be a singularity? I had the same problem with Rogue Planet. Like, I feel
Well,
like
no, let's.
I
throw
feel like
this.
they just went out and were like, let's find cool astronomical things and name our episodes that, but they have nothing to actually do with it, you know?
So I have some thoughts on this because yes, it is a black hole, which, you know, has a singularity at the center. One of the big issues was that they had to slow down to impulse because of gravitational shear, which I thought meant, I'm like, gravitational shear, that doesn't make sense. But, you know, obviously when you get close to a black hole, the gravity field is very strong. You're going to have different forces pulling on your ship closer to it than further away. Maybe that's what's going to mess up their flying. I did take a poke through Memory Alpha on gravitational shear, and typically it's used to explain points of space where the gravitational constant changes, which is like crazy Star Trek made-up physics.
Sure.
But they used it for this, and this actually is in that article on Memory Alpha.
Huh.
So I thought that was a bit odd, but my thinking is because you're near a black hole, the gravitational field is just going to make it harder to pilot. That's the only thing I could think of there. But yeah, it's a pretty tenuous connection.
It actually could have been really, like I say this a lot, but it could have been really interesting if they would in different episodes take different weird or unusual astronomical phenomenon and say, here's a thing. But then you at least learn about that thing, but they never actually get to that part of it. They're just like, we're gonna name this thing, and isn't it cool? Has nothing to do with anything, really.
It is
And
a
that's
class
what it feels.
4 black hole, and the Vulcans have scanned a lot of them, and that's all we learn.
Right.
I don't know what class 4 means. That's another made-up
I was just about to ask you that.
No fucking clue.
Technical difficulties. Well, obviously, this episode is a completely perfect episode in terms of science. And
Space
it all
boobs.
makes sense because
Space boobs.
astrology and astronomy are really the same thing, and our emotions and mentality are controlled by the stars. And Nicole will now explain how all of this works. Here we go. Lay it out for us.
That is the headcanon now. That is the headcanon. Astrology was right all along. We are affected by astronomical bodies. That affects our personality. The gravitational shear
The
messed
fault
with your
in our
brain.
stars.
Headcanon. That's it.
Nicole, what is your general opinion of Star Trek science in terms of what you're an expert in?
So, interesting question, because that changes throughout the decades as Star Trek changes throughout the decades. You know, when I watch original series stuff, what was known of astrophysics back then was very different, and so they'll throw out these random things that are complete. I can't think of a good example, but they'll throw out, not knowing stuff about quasars, and we know a whole lot about active galactic nuclei and supermassive black holes, lots of matter falling into them, make them really bright. We can see, that wasn't all that whole model of the active galactic nucleus supermassive black hole being the reason for quasars, I don't think was fleshed out quite that much. So, they would just throw stuff in and it would make no sense now. For me in general, I don't look too closely at the science. I did for this episode, of course, because, we were going to be talking about it. And I do, if asked to, I really, it's only when something glaringly sticks out.
What is the worst astronomy science that you have seen in Star Trek?
You know, there's obviously the bullshit about like the galactic barrier and
Right. The galactic barrier makes no sense. Yeah, and I don't even think that was based on astrophysical ideas at the time, so I'm
Right.
not sure where they came up with that.
well, I mean, how do you deal with like the warp technology, like the
It's magic.
yeah, exactly, like
assume.
So there are, theoretical papers about ways that you could potentially theoretically do warp drive, right?
Mhm.
So you would have to what I've seen is something I can't remember how to pronounce the name. Starts with an A. Albuquerque drive, where you basically you stick a black hole like on a fishing hook in front of the ship,
Mhm.
and it
Oh,
that
sure.
black hole, like a carrot in front of a I don't
Whoa.
know a horse, but and it bends space time around you. Now we don't quite
Oh.
know
Whoa.
how to make the physics of really tiny things with quantum mechanics work properly with the physics of really massive things and relativity. So we don't actually know how black holes work inside, really, kind of.
Right.
That's an unexplored realm of physics. So
That's cool.
you can speculate enough. A lot of that stuff lives in that speculative boundary where I'm like, okay, fine. That's fine. I think the only thing I really don't always like, and it's not for the physics reasons, but a lot of time travel stuff bugs me.
Mm.
Not for the physics, but
You
because
and Maria both.
sometimes the character will go through a thing and then not remember the thing. And so, yes, it was fun for an episode, but I care about the character development throughout the series. And if the character doesn't remember the thing that
Thank
just happened,
you.
why did I watch it? Why did I watch it?
I know.
Okay,
The
that
giant reset button drives me crazy.
yes, but it's more for narrative reasons than science reasons. It's more
Of
for narrative
course, yeah.
reasons than science reasons. For most of it, I don't look too closely because it's meant to drive the plot, and they're going to throw a lot of funky words in there. As long as they stay away from current science in the speculative realm, and it's somewhat entirely consistent, it doesn't bother me. One thing I loved was in Voyager. This is not a spoiler, but in Voyager, they have an astrometrics lab, and this is a couple years after. So this is in the mid to late 90s, a couple years after the Hubble Space Telescope was launched and then fixed. And so all of a sudden, the starship is now full of these gorgeous, gorgeous astronomical photos
I love
that are
that.
from Hubble. So you see this pop up when the astrometric lab becomes kind of part of Voyager. Is you see those Hubble pictures all the time, and I
That
love
is so
that
cool.
part. Now, we all know someone, or you may know someone from Dragon Con, Erin
I believe you're
McDonald.
talking about Miss Erin McDonald.
Dr. Erin
love
McDonald.
her.
Dr. Erin McDonald.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
Yes.
I
so-
apologize.
she's an astrophysicist, and she has been the science advisor for the show since 2019. And so there's a lot of great articles. There's one I could talk about if we can link to.
Yeah, we can link in the
where-
show notes.
Okay, yeah, where she talks about time travel and Prodigy. I don't know if you guys have seen Star Trek Prodigy. The animated, it's more for a younger audience. And Erin does get a character in the show.
So I have
Um,
seen that scene because Eric was watching Prodigy and he suddenly I was like out. I think I was out at like a rehearsal and I came home and the second I walked in the door, Eric's like, come over here. And he like scrolled and he like went to the scene. He was like, look, it's Erin. We were I was so
cool.
excited to see
Yes,
Erin.
Yes. So she plays a Starfleet instructor. So she's talked about a lot of the different ways that she has worked science into the newer stuff. A lot of the time travel stuff with Prodigy, they like really sat down to try and make it sensible. Again, for Star Trek physics, not real life physics, but at least in Star Trek physics, in a way that wouldn't make someone like me go, "Oh, that feels weird. That doesn't work." That's been really cool because we know her from Dragon Con. And she is not just an astrophysicist, she's also a writer, and I think she's a film director. Like, she does a whole bunch of amazing stuff. So she really brings together the narrative and the storytelling and the science for the show. Okay, I don't think this is a spoiler to say Strange New Worlds last season, there was a musical episode I don't know.
I think everybody is aware.
I
At least
think you're
heard of
fine,
it.
yeah.
She's like, great, I have to come up with a way to explain this, but she did. She came up with some semi-plausible Star Trek physicsy explanation for why everyone would be randomly breaking out into song, which is fabulous. So, the fact that she's been out there talking about her process has been really interesting for me in watching the newer series.
Yeah, that's awesome. She's great.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of having the science and the plot work together, and I don't want to get hung up on individual tiny details. You just want to use neutrinos for everything, fine. Although, oh my god, super neutrinos in the 2012 movie did make me yell out loud in a movie theater.
Super neutrinos?
That's not Star Trek, so that's okay.
Okay, Star Trek.
That movie broke so many of my scientist friends.
On that note, Memory Alpha, someone has a...
Okay, so we need to explain this for Nicole because our last episode has not aired yet, where we did this. There's been a couple Second Contact episodes where I've talked about funny Memory Alpha pages that I found, and the one that we did last time was the Memory Alpha page for breast. Not breasts, breast, just the word breast. By the way, boob redirects to breast, if you're wondering. Maria coined the term Memory Alpha, so then we thought it would be funny if we just had a segment sometimes where we talk about funny Memory Alpha pages. Sure. Now, what happened last time was I talked about how on the Memory Alpha page for breast, I mentioned that the references section was missing the line from A Night in Sickbay when Archer says, "I'm doing the breast that I can." And I was like, we need to have one of our listeners add it. And Bill was like, one of our listeners, why don't you add it? You could just add it. So I was like, fine. You bullied me. I will add it. Before we record again, I'll add it. So I went on today and I attempted to add this. However, I signed up for an account and then it was still locked from editing. And apparently they lock you have to wait 4 days from the time you make the account before they will let you edit, probably because of bots and stuff. Yeah. So I wasn't able to edit it. But then it was if you really need to edit something in the meantime, you can request an edit. So I was clicking around trying to figure out how to request an edit. And that is how I came to the wiki page behind the page for breast, where everybody is discussing controversies on the page.
Oh my god.
So, this is all to say, I got some stuff from this page. So there's 3 sections in these controversies. The first one is slaying. This is a conversation that happened back in 2009. Someone wrote, "I see that the addition of boobs was reverted, as it did seem like vandalism, but wasn't that word used in Star Trek Insurrection?"
Okay.
Oh my god.
And watch that movie because I hate myself and I do not remember boob coming up. Wait, no, I don't. I do.
Enjoyed Insurrection.
Oh, wait, I do remember boob coming up. Data says it.
So anyways, the first one was arguing over whether the person who put the word boobs in if it was vandalism or not. And then the second category is called point it's point, but they spelled it wrong. It's with an M instead of an N. And they wrote, "I fail to see any point to this page, and I fear it will draw trolls and perverts like moths to a light. Couldn't we delete it?" And then a whole bunch of people are arguing with this person and being like, "No, there is definitely a point to this page.
Boobs are important."
They are. They absolutely are.
Especially to some of the producers of the show.
Someone wrote, "As to the point of this article, I feel it's in the spirit of Memory Alpha to discuss and inform on a variety of themes to give the world of Star Trek depth. Breasts are an undeniable part of humanoid anatomy and culture. They are relevant."
Amazing.
Why are you calling me out like this, Jamie?
And the third category, which gets to something that happened on our podcast. The category is Dralax, which, if you guys remember, was on Enterprise when Travis and Trip were originally talking about Risa, and they mentioned that the women there have 3... didn't finish. And me and Maria called it a boob joke. And Bill, you were like, well, we don't know if that's what they're talking. This category is people arguing over if we can say that that was talking about breasts or not.
Wow.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Finally,
So good.
someone just goes, let's use common sense here. We all know what was being discussed.
Thank you.
Wait,
Thank you, random internet person.
Wait.
What if they have 3 kidneys?
Wait, I've never seen a 3-breasted Ryzian. We've seen
It's
a lot
not
of
a
Ryzians.
Ryzian. It's, well, it says Dralax, but it's like, it's some
We
sort
have
of
seen
other
a 3-breasted
creature.
something.
It's
On
just
Risa.
reference.
Okay.
We don't
Yeah,
actually
we don't
it.
see it on the show.
do in one of the
He just
movies.
mentions that the
Okay.
women there have 3, and it doesn't say what.
Okay.
And I forgot one more thing, back to the point thing. There was somebody who pointed out, so how about a page on penises too?
Fair
And-
enough.
Someone
Well,
responded
but you don't-
and wrote, gladly if you have any occurrences of the theme in Star Trek.
Yeah, there's no penises in Star Trek.
And no, excuse me, Enterprise there's batches aplenty.
We have definitely seen
just-
some, we've
there's
seen some
bulges.
outlines. We've seen
There's
some bulges.
bulges, but there's no actual peen. Like,
So
come
Maria
on.
Maria approves of Memory Alpha bulges.
Bulges, but not peen is the name of
That was your memory alpha of the day. I hope you all learned something.
Well, creating the term memory alpha may be the greatest thing I've ever done.
No, there was a 3-breasted character in Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, which is also a really bad movie. So, yes.
By the way, I just checked the memory alpha page for breast, and it does mention Star Trek V, the feline dancer on Nimbus 3 that had 3 breasts. So I was checking to make sure they didn't miss it. It is in there.
didn't miss it.
And that is thankfully the episode. Thank you for listening. If you made it to the end of this episode, amazing work. Next week, Maria will be telling us about the episode Vanishing Point. It's going to be a banger.
It's gonna be a banger.
Nicole, where can people find you on the socials?
I don't use the socials a whole lot, but you can find me as Noisy Astronomer. I'm on Blue Sky for the most part if I'm ever on socials. Usually I'm buried under a pile of administrative paperwork and or grading, but when I am not, you can find me on Blue Sky.
Special thanks to K.O. Myers at Particulate Media for sound assistance, to our friend David for our beautiful cover art, and to John Stephen King for being the voice of our computer. If you like this show, please rate, review, and subscribe on your podcast app of choice, and tell your friends about it. We really appreciate it. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook as @EnterpriseSplaining, and on Blue Sky as @EnterpriseSplain. You can also email us any questions, comments to enterprisesplaining@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. And if you want to support this podcast, you can find us at Buy Me a Coffee as Enterprise Splaining. We will see you next week.
I have a note that says, Phlox sniffed the Q-tip. Because he did. Why did he sniff it? That doesn't seem right.
Flock Snip the Q-Tip is my favorite Wu-Tang Clan album.
Seasons come and seasons go, but no matter what season it is, the 42 Cast will always be there. With discussions of TV series, films, comics, novels, and even video games, it's almost like we talk about everything. So give us a listen and tell your friends. The 42 Cast is a proud member of the ESO Network.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.